different person, same story. If you've ever looked back at your relationship history and noticed that somehow, despite completely different people, different circumstances, different beginnings, the ending always feels hauntingly familiar. You are not imagining it. Most people blame themselves for this. They decide they have bad taste, or bad luck, or some deep, unresolved trauma that keeps pulling them back to the same place. And while the trauma piece is real and worth exploring, there's another layer that almost nobody talks about. It's your rising sign. And once you understand how it shapes your relationship patterns, not just who you attract, but why, and what you do once they arrive, something that has felt like a life sentence will start to look more like a map. They tell you it's your mask. Your first impression, the version of yourself you project before people get to know the real you. And they stop there, as if the rising sign is something superficial that dissolves once intimacy begins. But here's what actually happens. Your rising sign doesn't disappear in relationships. It deepens. It becomes the energetic template through which every relationship unfolds. Your ascendant governs your first house, the house of self, identity, and the body. But it also sets the ruler of every other house in your chart, including your seventh house, the house of partnership, marriage, and significant one-on-one relationships. This means your rising sign doesn't just determine how you show up at the beginning of a relationship. The sign on your seventh house, which is always directly opposite your rising sign, is called your Descendant. And your Descendant reveals the type of energy you are cosmically wired to seek in a partner. Not just who you're attracted to, who you need, who completes the circuit of your chart. And here's where the pattern starts. When you don't understand your Descendant, you don't choose partners consciously. You choose them by gravitational pull, over and over again, until you understand why. The rising sign, the Descendant, and the pattern. Let's go through each rising sign and the relationship pattern it creates. As I describe yours, pay attention not just to what resonates, but to what you recognize from your history. Aries rising, Descendant in Libra. Aries rising enters relationships like they enter everything else, fast, bold, and all in. They are magnetic, direct, and genuinely exciting to be with at the start. But their Descendant in Libra means they are unconsciously seeking a partner who brings balance, harmony, and the patience they themselves lack. The pattern. Aries rising keeps attracting people-pleasers and peacekeepers, and then slowly suffocating them with their own intensity. The real lesson is learning that the harmony they seek in a partner is something they need to cultivate within themselves first. Taurus rising, Descendant in Scorpio. Taurus rising is one of the most devoted, sensual, and loyal partners in the zodiac. They offer stability, consistency, and a love that feels like home. But their Descendant in Scorpio means they are drawn, often against their own better judgment, to intensity, complexity, and transformation. The pattern. Taurus rising keeps attracting magnetic, complicated, sometimes volatile partners who shake their carefully built world. The lesson is understanding that the depth they seek in others is a depth they are afraid to face within themselves. Gemini rising, Descendant in Sagittarius. Gemini rising is endlessly fascinating company, curious, witty, and always bringing new ideas to the table. But their Descendant in Sagittarius means they are drawn to people who have a philosophy, a direction, a belief system, something that anchors Gemini's scattered brilliance. The pattern. Gemini rising keeps attracting adventurers and idealists who eventually feel impossible to pin down. The lesson is that the meaning and direction they seek in a partner are what they need to develop in their own inner life. Cancer rising, Descendant in Capricorn. Cancer rising loves with extraordinary depth and devotion. They create emotional safety for everyone around them. But their Descendant in Capricorn means they are unconsciously drawn to people who project authority, ambition, and emotional self-sufficiency. The pattern. Cancer rising keeps attracting emotionally unavailable, high-achieving partners and pouring all their nurturing into people who don't know how to receive it. The lesson is learning that they deserve the same care they so freely give. Leo rising, Descendant in Aquarius. Leo rising shines. They are generous, dramatic, and capable of making a partner feel like the most important person in the world. But their Descendant in Aquarius means they are drawn to people who are unconventional, independent, and slightly detached. The pattern. Leo rising keeps attracting people who admire them from a distance but resist true intimacy, partners who value their freedom over the devotion Leo offers. The lesson is learning that being truly seen requires vulnerability, not just performance. Virgo rising, Descendant in Pisces. Virgo rising is devoted, attentive, and genuinely invested in making love work practically. But their Descendant in Pisces means they are drawn to dreamers, creatives, and emotionally fluid people who operate from intuition rather than logic. The pattern. Virgo rising keeps attracting partners who need saving. People whose chaos activates Virgo's need to help, fix, and organize. The lesson is learning the difference between love and a project. Libra rising, Descendant in Aries. Libra rising is elegant, diplomatic, and deeply romantic. They bring beauty and balance to every relationship, but their Descendant in Aries means they are drawn to boldness, assertiveness, and people who make decisions without consulting a committee. The pattern. Libra rising keeps attracting dominant, sometimes aggressive partners, unconsciously seeking someone who will make the decisions they themselves avoid. The lesson is learning to develop their own decisive voice, rather than outsourcing it to a partner. Scorpio rising, Descendant in Taurus. Scorpio rising brings an intensity to love that is unmatched, profound, all-consuming, and transformative. But their Descendant in Taurus means they crave, underneath all that intensity, a partner who is stable, sensual, and unshakable. The pattern. Scorpio rising keeps unconsciously testing their partner's stability, pushing, probing, sometimes destroying the very security they desperately need. The lesson is learning to trust that something solid can survive their depth without being destroyed by it. Sagittarius rising, Descendant in Gemini. Sagittarius rising is one of the most freedom-loving, expansive presences in any relationship. They are fun, philosophical, and genuinely inspiring, but their Descendant in Gemini means they need a partner who is mentally quick, endlessly curious, and able to match their conversational range. The pattern. Sagittarius rising keeps attracting clever, witty partners who are ultimately too scattered to go deep with them. The lesson is learning that intellectual chemistry is necessary but not sufficient, and that depth requires both partners to stay in one place long enough to find it. Capricorn rising, Descendant in Cancer. Capricorn rising is one of the most responsible, reliable, and quietly powerful presences in love. But their Descendant in Cancer means they are drawn to emotional warmth, nurturing, and partners who create the home and softness that Capricorn's exterior rarely allows themselves. The pattern. Capricorn rising keeps attracting emotionally expressive partners who eventually feel overwhelmed by Capricorn's walls. The lesson is allowing themselves to be cared for and understanding that needing warmth is not weakness. Aquarius rising, Descendant in Leo. Aquarius rising is brilliantly original, deeply humanitarian, and genuinely fascinating to know. But their Descendant in Leo means they are drawn, sometimes to their own surprise, to warmth, expressiveness, and partners who are unafraid to be seen. The pattern. Aquarius rising keeps attracting dramatic, high-maintenance partners who demand the emotional presence that Aquarius finds genuinely difficult to sustain. The lesson is learning that being truly known by one person is not the opposite of freedom. It is its own form of expansion. Pisces rising, Descendant in Virgo. Pisces rising loves without borders, completely, compassionately, and sometimes self-destructively. But their Descendant in Virgo means they need a partner who brings discernment, practicality, and the grounded presence that Pisces' fluid nature cannot always provide for itself. The pattern. Pisces rising keeps attracting critical, analytical partners who slowly make them feel that who they are is not quite enough. The lesson is understanding the difference between a partner who helps them grow and a partner who makes them feel fundamentally flawed. Breaking the pattern. The pattern repeats not because you are broken or cursed or have uniquely terrible judgment in love. It repeats because the lesson hasn't been integrated yet, because the quality you keep seeking in a partner is the quality you haven't yet claimed in yourself. If something in this video made you stop and think, if you recognized your pattern in what I just described, I want to offer you something that goes even deeper. Moon reading generates a free, fully personalized astral reading based on your exact date of birth. It explores your rising sign, your emotional patterns in relationships, your hidden needs, and the specific architecture of your soul's design. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. It's completely free to start. It takes 2 minutes.